Good morning and greetings from Northumberland on the 15th of February. The temperature is above freezing, the sun is shining, and almost all the snow here on the coast has melted, although I think inland there's still quite a bit to go. Yesterday, as I sat down in the evening, I found on my Facebook timeline a lot of reminders of a visit I had 11 years ago. 11 years ago, I visited with a group from the cathedral where I worked in Wakefield, the Church of Skara, the Diocese of Skara, the Cathedral of Skara in Sweden. And although I've only met those friends who were there a few times since, a link was started, a link that's in our hearts and in our minds, and a link that reminds us that across the sea here, to my right, to the east, there are Christians with whom we already have fellowship. This diocese, of course, Newcastle, has a relationship with the church in Norway. Today we celebrate St. Siegfried. Siegfried was an Anglo-Saxon, a courtier, and he was sent by the king Ethelred in the year 995 to work with King Olav in Norway and to work in Sweden. And despite many difficulties and many dangers, he worked there faithfully from 995 to 1045, so 50 years exactly, working as an apostle and evangelist and sharing the gospel with the people of Norway and Sweden and Denmark. Now, it would not be right to claim that this is the beginning of the church in any of those countries, or that he was the principal apostle. What it does show is that when Jesus speaks about the harvest and the vineyard and the sheep, it all transfigures and transforms national boundaries and even the physical boundaries of the sea and the mountains and the deserts. Our brothers and sisters in Christ are to be found on the streets of our local towns and are also to be found across Europe, across Asia, across Africa, across the Americas. Wherever there are followers of Jesus Christ, we are brothers and sisters in Christ. And wherever there are human beings, we are brothers and sisters because we are all created by God. We have been justly proud in our own country of the marvellous progress made by our National Health Service in vaccinating so many people. And we know that this week the vaccination program will expand, and younger people under 70, will be receiving invitations for their vaccination. So there's hope for me as well. But the important thing to remember is that we are part of one world, that COVID is a pandemic. And just as Siegfried was concerned for the welfare, the spiritual welfare of the people of Norway and Sweden and Denmark, so as a world we must be concerned for everyone's welfare. I read an article, I don't know whether it's true, but I think it is, that the 10 most wealthy people in the world could pay for the vaccination of every person in the world in this COVID pandemic. That reminds us that those of us who are in a more comfortable and wealthy situation have to reach out to those who need more, because we will not really come to terms with this pandemic until we can restrict it through vaccination and treatment throughout the world. It's in our own interest because it will prevent and help to prevent mutations. It's in our own interests because it helps us to restore normality, whatever that will be. Siegfried gives us a lesson that the love of God doesn't have any boundaries. And that's an important lesson to remember in these COVID times. May God bless us all, and greetings, if anyone sees it, to my friends in Skara in Sweden.